Hello and welcome to the United Stand with your Manchester United transfer news daily, where we talk about all the latest Manchester United transfer news and give it that real fan opinion. And I'm excited about the show today because actually of the four players we've got to talk about, the three below and as usual the Eric Bailly sort of left field signing, I would take all four of these. They really obviously, I mean some of the names are obvious, but they do excite me and I think they're all players that actually we do need at Manchester United. So the first person I want to talk about is Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Now I've been speaking about him for a number of months on the United Stand, pretty much since we started to realise that maybe Zlatan would go. And that was before his injury. There was a lot of people thinking, really, should we get a second year out of him? That lack of pace is a problem in the Premier League. And obviously the knee injury has sort of hastened that decision, which I think Mourinho would have kept him. So how do you replace Zlatan? Well, there are options out there. I love Icardi. Spoke about him yesterday. I think that's really interesting. Belotti, could he do a job? Morata, is he good enough? Lukaku, Premier League proven, but is he top four Premier League proven? If I had the pick of any number 9 to come and replace Zlatan Ibrahimovic, it would be Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Now, he may well go to Manchester City, PSG, Real Madrid, obviously rivals of us in different ways. But I would have to put my hands up and say, look, a bit like Aguero, plays for Man City. I don't like Man City, but he's a top class striker. Aubameyang would fit the Premier League like a glove, and he's exactly what Manchester United and Jose Mourinho, more importantly, need in a striker. When I think of people like Drogba, who played for Mourinho, that big but skillful and fast and clinical forward that he had at Chelsea, I see a lot of similarities between Aubameyang. And when I look at what we've had this season with Zlatan and that physical specimen, the ability to hold the ball up, the threat in the air, again, I look at what's available in world football, and apart from Peter Crouch, if we want somebody who's good in the air, but he's also a very good footballer as well, Aubameyang is probably that's part of the reason why I would go for him. The fact that he's ultra prolific and has been for his entirety at Borussia Dortmund obviously backs that up. But what do you get for your bang with Aubameyang? You get pace. He's a very quick player. You get somebody who can run the channels, which obviously Zlatan can't, but I think is very important for Manchester United. You've got somebody who's very clinical off both feet and very good in the air. And on top of that, you get what I think is really important for Manchester United is somebody who is experienced, somebody who's not like an Mbappe who's like 15. I know he's not, I know he's 18, but you know what I mean. Aubameyang will turn 28 this summer, and I think that's really important. We saw it with Van Persie. When you bring that striker in at the top of their game, they hit the ground running, they've got the experience, and it means a lot. Aubameyang, 28 years of age this summer, absolute perfect to get 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 years of a striker at their top echelon of their game. So if this deal can be done, fantastic. I've never really talked about it much other than it be my personal preference because I haven't really been seeing a lot. But over the last 24 hours, it's starting to filter out in there. And the way I gauge transfer rumours are on where they are. If they're in the Daily Star, I wouldn't wipe my bum on it. But if it's in like a few of the varied sources, then that starts to add credence to it. And I think Manchester United, Manchester United need number 9. If Aubameyang is a viable option, they're going to be in there. And I think that is what the situation with Manchester United and Aubameyang is at the moment. PSG are front runners for it, but Manchester United have basically said to Dortmund, look, if there's a deal there to be done, give us a shout because we'll do the deal. And obviously it depends on whether Aubameyang wants to come to Manchester United and do that deal. Like I say, 6'2", so he's got the height. Do you need the stats? He's scored 29 goals in 31 league games this season. He pretty much replicates that, whatever tournament it is, whatever season it is for Dortmund. So Aubameyang for me, look, I like Icardi. I said that yesterday. But if you're giving me the free choice of any number 9 in world football, I would go for Aubameyang. I know you can get, well, it wouldn't actually. It'd be Ronaldo. But with it, it would be Ronaldo. It would be Ronaldo. I've got to backtrack there. It would. I think Ronaldo would be the perfect number 9 for us. But in realistic terms, Aubameyang would be the dream one because I just think he would score a lot of goals in the Premier League and he's exactly what we need. He combines height, physicality, pace, and that's exactly what Manchester United need in number 9. So that would really excite me. The next player I want to talk about is Marquinhos at PSG. He's a centre-back. He's Brazilian. Now, he's been mentioned around Manchester United for probably about the last 6 months as a viable centre-back option. I've never really talked about him much on the United Stand because I don't think we can do the deal. I think he'd cost a lot of money. And I don't see this deal happening. But again, it's gathered a little bit of pace. It's sort of gathered a bit of pace because Manchester United are constantly linked to him, and apparently Marquinhos has come out and said that he's happy at PSG and he doesn't want to leave. However, the interesting thing about him is that he has been at PSG and he's done very well with Silva as a centre-back. He isn't particularly super tall, he's around 6 foot, but he's very athletic, he's got a good spring in his step, his positional sense is good. Being Brazilian, he's obviously good at bringing the ball out from the back. And I think at his age as well, because he's only just turned 22, I think, look, if Mourinho gets hold of any centre-back, they're going to go from whatever they are up, you know, if they're a 7 out of 10, they're going to go to 9. If they're 8 out of 10, they're going to be one of the best centre-backs in the world. And I think Marquinhos is sort of around that 8 out of 10. And I think Mourinho would take him up to world class. And at that age, like I say, 23 in May, you know, that's perfect. It would cost a lot of money, but the retainer on that is his contract's up in 2019. So he's not like same as Lukaku. Lukaku's contract's not like Alexis Sanchez or Ozil or Ross Barkley or Michael Keane, a year left on it, or Donnarumma, a year left on it. So the clubs that they're at are either going to have to sell them at a reduced price this summer, or they're going to have to get them on a contract. It's big summers for them. But like Lukaku, Marquinhos has got 2 years. So the clubs will be looking to get them on a longer deal because they won't want to be in this situation in a year's time where they're over a barrel. So I think, you know, the 2018 contracts, like I said, Sanchez, Donnarumma, something's going to happen with them this summer. It's either going to be new contracts or it's going to be move on. People like Lukaku and Marquinhos, them clubs that they're at, those clubs that they are at, will be trying to get them on deals. So there are deals there to be done. It just means we won't get them as cheap as we would if they had a year left on the contract. But I think 40 to 50 million pounds, you'd get Marquinhos. And to be honest, there's not many centre-backs in world football that I would be willing to say, let's go over 40 million pounds for. But I think I really do think he would be worth it, because I think he's got absolutely everything a Manchester United centre-back would need. And also, I think Mourinho would get the hell of a lot out of him. I think Varane's still interesting, still constantly being told that Varane is going to respect whatever Real Madrid want to do, but he would happily move to Manchester United because he wants to work with Mourinho. But if Madrid wants him to stay, he'll stay. So that's interesting. But Marquinhos is interesting as well. And I know a lot of you have mentioned him and you like him. Gareth Bale's obviously on there. All I'd say about Gareth Bale is, look, a lot of people are calling him injury prone and they wouldn't want him. I mean, for those who remember what he was like in the Premier League, it wasn't that too far ago. I mean, he was just awesome. And I think at Manchester United, he would be an absolute asset. I think if Manchester United can do the deal, they would do it. I still do believe what I said last week, that this deal is probably more driven by the hierarchy at Manchester United, who want a significant signing like Gareth Bale. And Mourinho is probably a little bit, a bit reserved about the deal. But apparently Gareth Bale is not opposed to the deal, and Real Madrid are sort of like not opposed to the deal. So it's probably, we spoke about Neymar 3 weeks ago. If you're asking me, could Neymar come to Manchester United? Well, anything can happen at Manchester United, but I don't think Neymar will. I think there's much more chance of Bale happening, so gauge it on that really. And our Eric Bailly signing of today, the sort of the left field obscure sort of signing that we like doing because we like a little bit of depth to our transfers. It's sort of prompted by I do read your comments, and the person who put this comment up will know that they said it yesterday, and it is one of the players I wanted to do this summer, so I'm going to mention it now. Adama Traore at Middlesbrough. Now, I saw him in the game against us at Old Trafford around Christmas time. I was impressed with him, and he came on for a cameo when we beat them at the Riverside a few weeks ago. And I was impressed by him. I was amazed that Middlesbrough don't pick him. But I think Middlesbrough don't pick him because apparently his footballing brain's not all that. His final ball's not great and he makes the wrong decisions here, there and everywhere. But his actual ability is unquestionable. He's got great skill. He's very, very strong. In fact, he looks massive. In fact, I think he's carrying too much bulk. I mean, if he could give some to Lingard, it would be appreciated. But he's fast, he's skillful, and he's only just turned 22 in January. He's just been relegated with Middlesbrough. Manchester United could probably get this lad for anywhere between 10 and 15 million pounds. And I think he has the potential to be one of the best players in Europe, wingers-wise, in the next 3 to 4 years. And that's why I mention him, because I think Manchester United are crying out for a right-sided, quick, skillful player. I think Martial can be the answer on the left. I think Traore, Redmond, as I mentioned yesterday, these are players that we should be looking to bring on because we need pace on our flanks. And this lad's got it. And again, with someone like Mourinho, someone like Mourinho in charge of him, I think he can do great things. And let's not forget, Middlesbrough's former manager was a close ally of Mourinho, so there's that connection as well. Adama Traore was at Aston Villa, brought in from Barcelona. A lot of people were amazed Villa did that deal because he was touted as being one of their up-and-coming stars at Barcelona. So, look, it's very left field, but I think if Mourinho wants to go and get somebody who's young, who has a bit of Premier League experience, who can go up 2 or 3 levels, then I think he's absolutely perfect, and we'd get him for a decent price. I get a bit frustrated. I mean, I put a tweet out last night saying, look, a lot of people, some Manchester United fans at the moment just seem to be absolutely spoilt and obsessed about big signings. I'm not obsessed by big signings. We need a top-class striker, so that's why I talk about Aubameyang, and there's certain positions where we need to sign people. But this constant obsession with signing big Galacticos is actually quite frustrating. And I put a tweet out last night saying, look, for a first time in decades, we've actually got 4 players that I think will be top-class European talent. Twansibi, Pereira, Fosu-Mensah and Rashford. I don't want to liken them to the class of 92 because that sounds ridiculous to say it. But when you look at the class of 92, Giggs, Beckham and Scholes were the major talents. Gary Neville, Nicky Butt, Phil Neville, really, really good players. But not out of the ordinary world-class players, just very, very good players. I look at that 4. Rashford can be right up there. I think Fosu-Mensah can be right up there. I think Pereira can be right up there. And Twansibi can be a very, very good centre-back as well. So these 4 players we've got coming through, we should cherish them and want them to play first-team football. They're not Lingards. They're not Kieran Richardsons. They're not John O'Shea's, people like that. Good pros that can bolster a squad. These are top players who can be top first-team players. And I see some fans turning their back on that, and we've got to not do that. We've got to remember what we're all about. I don't want to just play youth just because they've been through the youth system, and I think that mistake with Lingard is abundantly clear. But these lads, I think they can be top class players. And to be honest with you, if you were to tell me in 2 years' time those 4 players will be first-team players for Manchester United and top class talents, or you can sign 4 superstars, I know every day of the week I'll go with the 4 youth players because that's what we're all about. I'm not sure every United fan would. In fact, I'm going to leave a poll for you to answer about that. What do you want? Would you want them 4 players playing for Manchester United in 2 years' time? Or would you have 4 superstars from world football? Let us know. Give us your thoughts. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for all the likes yesterday. We were thinking about stopping doing the daily transfer show, so the likes really just let us know whether you're enjoying it or not. I'll be back tonight with the watch along at 7 o'clock for Southampton. I'm looking forward to it, and I hope you will join us. Thanks everyone for watching. If you're new, make sure you subscribe and get comments in below. We read them. If there's any other players you want us to touch on, third, sort of the Eric Bay sort of player, or you've got thoughts on what we discussed today, get commented below. I'll speak to you all soon. Thanks for watching.